The homeless crisis and the real war against the poor. Not really sure what to expect. Let's just check it out. Thank you for checking me out. The Offended Outcast. Now, housing obviously is freaking ridiculous. I don't know why living somewhere costs so much money, but this is the world we live in. Everybody's in debt. Everybody needs more money. And they won't print anymore, which is, I guess, good. But at this point, I feel like if you're gonna create a crap system, man, you gotta at least take care of the people, man. Cause, dude, it's gonna get hectic, man.
Welcome back to Offended Outcast. Today, the homeless crisis and the real war against the poor. The homeless crisis, a manufactured disaster. Let's take a look. Homelessness by the numbers. Over 653,000 people were homeless in the United States on a single night in 2023. That's a 12% increase from the year before.
And I bet you that's only for the people that are really homeless. You know, there's a lot of people who just don't have somewhere to rent or staying with a friend and, you know, possibly sleeping in a vehicle of some sort. They're still homeless, but I don't think they count on these metrics, which probably would also really increase the numbers. Who do we need to talk to about this? Because I think people need to do something about this. Like, who do we need to run up on? Allegedly.
40% of the homeless are unsheltered, sleeping in cars, tents, or on the streets. 30% are families with children. Seniors are the fastest growing segment entering homelessness today. Rents have skyrocketed over 30% and higher in many cities since 2020, but yet wages remain stagnant. These numbers just don't represent people without homes. They represent a system that has decided that poor people don't deserve to survive. The lies of personal failure. They made bad choices. Reality. Over 50% of homeless individuals had stable lives before a medical emergency, job loss, or rent hike. 68% of Americans today live paycheck to paycheck. Homelessness is one crisis away.
I feel like I'm really coming to terms with this. So I am doing pretty well for myself. I do have a lot of debt, but I have like the good debt, you know, the debt that people say you shouldn't get. Basically, I'm doing better than most people. I can't even say that. I don't know. I don't know by what metrics, but I know for sure there are a lot of people who have it way worse than me. And I just feel like, dude, I'm not even winning, bro. Like, I thought stuff was gonna pan out. It's just not panning out. I'm at my limit of what I can do. But I realized, like, even if I'm in a good scenario, I couldn't imagine what the average person is going through because, dude, it's been pretty bad recently. I really feel like I lucked out. But yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do. What could we do? You know? They could even give us $3,500 stimulus checks or what have you. I don't think it'll do a little something, but dude, the average person, right? They're gonna use that to pay off their car, not pay off their car, maintenance on their car that they were back holding or whatever. Maybe catch up on rent or something or some other bills. And then, dude, it's gone. And then you get hit with the inflation. Dude, it's just a scam, bro. We all know it, dude.
Mental illness and addiction are consequences, not always the cause. Yet, blaming the victim lets the system off the hook. Cities are criminalizing poverty. Over 200 U.S. cities have laws making it illegal to sleep in public, feed the homeless, or to sit and lie on sidewalks.
You know what I realized too? Very soon, you see all those panhandlers out there with that cardboard sign? They're gonna get arrested, man. It's gonna get spooky, man. We might be entering a world where there's way less people, right? So it's just like a world for these sick people. And it's like most other people are either gonna be not born because they don't want anybody to have kids and they're ruining everything. And then it's so funny, right? Parents will ask you, oh, hey, why don't you have kids? Or why don't you, it's like you said, blaming the person. I feel like even if you had enough money right now, I still feel like you probably don't have enough money. I don't know, man. I don't know what type of system we're walking into, but it's one where people are more likely to be in jail. The education system is screwed up. Nobody can afford to drive. True slavery. And then they look at me like, oh, hey, you don't want kids right now? I would like kids, but it's like nothing's panning out for the millennials and younger to feel like there's nothing to look forward to, so what's the point? I feel bad for the seniors. They better hope they treated their kids right, because if not, because I feel like that also, you have a lot of parents that don't really teach much, which there isn't much to teach nowadays because they don't teach them anything, but we're heading into a crazy world, dude.
Fines and arrests do nothing but create cycles of incarceration and even more debt. The sweeps cost millions in taxpayer funds that could otherwise be spent on housing. We don't solve homelessness. We punish it like a crime. The housing market is a war zone. Wall Street owns nearly 1 in 5 single-family homes bought since 2021. Hedge funds and REITs are buying, flipping, and renting homes at inflated prices. Public housing, on the other hand, has been slashed by 80% since the 1980s. Section 8 vouchers have waiting lists up to 10 years in some cities. The American dream has been turned into a luxury subscription service, and we the poor have been priced out.
Real deal. Really, he's really just, he said what we all know, man. You'll never be able to afford a home. Not that you couldn't. That's what I'm saying. I plan to buy a home, right? I plan to buy a very small home outside of the city, for the cheapest I can, what's decent, and then I plan to use dividends to just live my life and stuff. But if things don't pan out, it's gonna be nearly impossible for me to come up with like a little bit more of excess cash to be able to do stuff. I feel like I'm gonna say it again, man. I'm gonna say it. Aliens, man. There's nobody that could be this high level with the control like an alien, man. I feel like, dude, I used to believe this was people's doing. Nah, bro. This type of like methodical planning, I don't think anybody, even the smartest, bro, don't make sense, man. Seems kind of fishy.
Let's talk about the war against the poor.
Don't let an appliance breakdown break you down. Shop Brothers Main's super in-stock selection from brands like
The myth of the lazy poor. 60% of unhoused adults have jobs, often multiple. The federal minimum wage hasn't risen since 2009. It's still $7.25 per hour. In no U.S. state can a full-time minimum wage worker afford a one-bedroom apartment. The system demands your labor, but offers you no dignity. The hidden face of homelessness. Women fleeing domestic violence make up a growing portion of the homeless population.
And I feel like this is where I can cut some slack to my mom. This was a case for us. I will say the one great thing she did was move us away from that environment, but dude, man, I just can't see myself. But hey, once you're in it, you're in it. It's really hard to say if you're not in that scenario, you know? But it's like, where do we go from here, you know? This just, I feel like, dude, I don't know, man. You know what? You know what it's really gonna take? It's gonna take some really stern laws, stern laws to really fix any of these issues. Like some clear cut in the, but they're not gonna do that because these aren't good people. Like they're not gonna really place some stuff in place to really help people until it's too late. I'm telling you, man, I don't know why. Dude, I'm telling you, dude. Eventually, the average American will get tired of this.
LGBTQ plus youth are 120% more likely to be homeless than cisgender heterosexual peers. Seniors living in vehicles to survive on $1,000 a month Social Security checks. And let's not even talk about our veterans. These people didn't disappear. They were disappeared by a system that doesn't value them. Politicians, policy, and profiteers. Let's call this what it is. A rigged game. One where the referees, the politicians, are bought and paid for by the very players who profit off poverty. Politicians protect profits, not people. Too many lawmakers talk about ending homelessness while raking in campaign donations from real estate developers, construction giants, and Wall Street-backed property firms. In 2022 alone, the real estate industry poured over $130 million into political campaigns across the United States. That kind of money doesn't come without strings, and those strings are tied around the necks of the poor.
I'm not gonna lie. I found if I could go all back, I would have never gotten into debt. I'm gonna be honest with you. At the time, for one, I do have an auto loan, but I mean, even that, I'm never again. But at the time, you do need a nice car, and I've been going through so many beaters, man. I just felt like I had to, man. It was the only safest thing I could do, because I'd know for sure I'd get a nice car, man. But now I'm just paying it off, and it just blows, man. I'm for sure gonna pay it off as soon as possible. Even with the debt I have against my crypto and stuff, it's just not worth it, man. You playing this game that you feel like they don't want you to win, so they're not gonna let you win. You know, it's like you said, it's a rigged game. So basically, I'm just waiting for them to decide, you know, to flip the switch. But once I buy my freedom again, I'm never going back. And I'm never, no car loans, no mortgage, no nothing, bro.
They pass zoning laws that block affordable housing projects. They stall rent control measures. They say there's no budget for shelters, but yet approve tax breaks for luxury condos no one in the city can afford to live in. These politicians don't represent the people. They represent profit margins. And the poor, we are just the collateral damage of their deals. Housing is now a financial asset, not a basic right. Over the past decade, investment firms like Blackstone, Invitation Homes, and American Homes for Rent have quietly bought up tens of thousands of single-family homes and apartment complexes.
That's what I'm saying, man. They're buying homes at rapid paces and they're not going to let them go. I wish I found a foreclosed home that I was thinking about. And I was going to do it. Dude, there's no money to be made here. It's not like I wouldn't spend money in the economy or do what have you. You can't really make any freaking money. They just won't let you. And you can only make a certain amount of money, and then they'll figure out some way how to cap you off. Or they'll increase inflation, and then it really doesn't. It is nearly impossible to get ahead. I don't even want to make this video right now, but I need to do something proactive. But yeah, dude, I would love to buy a home. I love to do a lot of things. It just seems like it's nearly impossible.
What used to be family homes are now part of billion-dollar portfolios. These corporations don't just buy, they hoard, they flip, and they extort. They jack up rents, evict long-term residents, and charge obscene fees for basic maintenance. Rent is no longer tied to reality. It's tied to investor returns. Welcome to late-stage capitalism, where a roof over your head is an investment opportunity for the rich and a death sentence for the poor. Public housing was deliberately abandoned. In the 1970s, the federal government shifted its housing policy away from building public housing to handing out Section 8 vouchers, promising that the private market would fill the gap. That promise was a lie. Over 10 million Americans now qualify for Section 8, but only 25% actually receive assistance. In many cities, wait lists are closed or span 8 to 15 years. Meanwhile, public housing complexes have been left to rot, underfunded, and demonetized. In cities like New York and Chicago, entire buildings have been shuttered rather than repaired.
I'll tell you, man, the apartment scenario is not getting great either. I live in an apartment, 2-bedroom. I actually pay a reasonable amount in rent. Currently, this will be my first month of paying $1,030. Now, for you, that may be reasonable, but I was just paying $870 2 years ago. I just got done with my lease for $930. Now it's $1,030. So it's gone up, what is that, 20%? In 2 years, it's 10% per year. Yeah, dude, I'm buying a house, dude. When things take off, I'm buying a home. And I feel like I'm just irritated, I'm be truthful, because I should have already been there. You know, I've done everything right, and I just haven't been freaking rewarded yet, man. It's really irritating because I feel like they know people are this close to becoming free. I'm just irritated, man. I'm not gonna lie, I'm salty, man. I'm salty because I should have been past this point. It's like I'm stuck in purgatory, man, and it's really pissing me off.
And instead of rebuilding for the people, the land is sold to developers for luxury towers with a handful of affordable units that no one making minimum wage can actually afford.
So it's book your next hotel.
If you don't book, it's a shame.
They didn't fail to fix the system. They chose to abandon the people inside it. Homelessness as policy, not accident. Every sweep of a tent city, every bulldozed encampment, every no-sit, no-sleep law is deliberate social engineering. It is the cleansing of poverty from public view, not the solving of it. Police are used as tools of real estate expansion, pushing the unhoused out of valuable areas. It's not about safety. It's about profit protection and image management. Cities spend millions clearing camps, but won't spend that same money on permanent supportive housing. Why? Because there's no quick return on investment on compassion, but there's always a profit margin in gentrification. This is not the result of bad luck or bad.
You know what's weird too? I feel like, right? How does that make sense, right? If rent is $400, let's say across the United States, right? And you keep raising the rent, right? And then less people can afford rent, so then they move in with other friends, and then basically there's unoccupied homes sitting around. How does that increase profit?
This is the result of political cowardice.
I guess technically you could rent more to, or you could rent less homes and you'd have the same amount of money, but with the maintenance of other homes and all this other stuff, I'm sure that's why they get tax breaks and stuff, but it's like, dude, what is the overall purpose? It's going to be, and then you're going to have people squatting in those homes, and now you're not going to get paid for it. So it's like, what is the purpose of kicking everybody out just to raise rent up so then nobody can afford anything, and then you can't sell your property, or you can't, what is it? What are they expecting? People to do like 3 people per studio? That would be wicked, bro.
Corporate greed and a public too desensitized to give a damn. This is a war, and they are winning. Let's be clear, this is class warfare, and the poor are being crushed beneath the policies made by people who will never live paycheck to paycheck, never fear eviction, and never choose between food or rent. We don't just need policy reform, we need a radical restructuring of what we believe housing should be. Not a reward for success, but a foundation for survival. If housing is a commodity...
I need my money to pop off, dude. I'm not gonna lie, because I can't, dude. I'm tired of living under people, dude. These people are so loud. It's ridiculous, dude. I don't know why they have to scream so loud. But I'm buying a home, man, because I can't deal with these people anymore.
Then homelessness is inevitable. Until we change that, the war against the poor will rage on, and more lives will be lost in silence. If you own a home, you are not safe from this. You are not above this. You are not immune. You might be next.
Yeah, for sure, because they could just raise the interest rates, depending on if, not if, I mean, even the idea of property taxes and all that BS is BS, but at least you can kind of survive with the property taxes. But dude, you better be careful, man, because they are coming for your wallets, they're coming for your property, they're coming for anything they can make a profit on. I'm just saying, because it's quite obvious. See you guys next time, man. Deuce.